Hello, everyone.
What is going on?
Woo, we're excited to be here. We've been waiting for this moment, and it is finally here. Welcome to New Mexico Entertainment Television, your source for all things events and entertainment in the state of New Mexico. I'm Teresa Robinson.
And I am Steph Darnell. Today we have interviews from comedian AMarie Castillo and Michael Bulloch from the Levitt AMP Music Festival.
We also have our folks from New Mexico Prickly Pear Festival. Say that 3 times fast. And also an interview with Letta with Art Nueva.
Awesome. Then let's get it started.
Let's do it.
The Levitt AMP Music Series brings a broad array of musical experiences and high-caliber artists to communities nationwide. This year's concert in Gallup brings a diverse roster of artists, including Alice Wallace, Lindy Vision, and Wilderness. We're glad to have Michael Bulloch, Interim Executive Director of Gallup Main Street Arts and Cultural District, to talk to us more about the event. What's going on, Michael? How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. So how did this event get started? How did all this come together?
So our former executive director, Kara Smith, decided to apply for the Levitt AMP grant. It's a grant that the Levitt Foundation does every year, and basically it's to produce live music series for communities. So they do them all across the country, and you have to go through kind of a stringent process to actually win the opportunity to put on a concert series, and you have to get people in your community behind it. They have to vote for you. So it's a really cool process, or stringent process, to get selected. And so she was able to make that happen. Actually, all the way back in 2019 is when the process started. So this series was originally supposed to take place in 2020. Obviously, with the pandemic, that didn't happen. So it's just getting. They did kind of a little sort of virtual concert series during the height of the pandemic, which was pretty cool. Okay. But then now this one is finally kicking off in 2021.
Okay. So you were saying that the selection process is stringent. So how are performers actually picked to be on the series?
So the performers actually are we put out a call for performers, and then they send in demo tapes and stuff like that. It has to be one of the stipulations is that they can only perform original work. Okay. Their covers aren't allowed, so it has to be an original performance or piece, and that goes for not only the headliners but our opening acts as well. So.
Is that something that you feel like makes the series unique or different from other music festivals and such like that? Is that everything has to be original and just...
Yeah, I think for a music series like this, it definitely does. Something that's going to be in a smaller town. Most of the Levitt AMP concert series that are around the country are in smaller towns. So it really kind of raises that bar on the level of performer you get, including like our opening acts are all local or regional performers who are also who also have original material. So that's really cool.
So tell us just real quick, give us a rundown of a couple of artists that you have going on at the show.
Well, so next week we have Felix y los Gatos, and they're a national touring band. They kind of have a kind of cool Zaida Tejano blues. So it's a Zydeco and then Tejano kind of fusion. They're kicking off next week. We've got Alice Wallace, and she's kind of a folk singer. She's going to be here the week after. Jesse Daniels. Or Daniel is playing the week after that. Okay. Lindy Vision, Levi Platero, who's a favorite in Gallup. He's going to be here on the 9th. Wilderness is on the 16th. They're kind of an indie rock band, and then we've got a reggae band to kind of wrap it up on the 23rd, Reviva. So it's all different kinds of music, and I think we'll get a really good taste of like just a whole different, a whole slew of different genres of music, which will be kind of nice.
So before we go, just tell our audience how they can find out more information about the Levitt Amp series.
So you can go to gallupmainstreet.org. So just how it sounds, all one word, gallupmainstreet.org. And we have all the information on our website there. The tickets, it's free. It's a first come, first serve kind of thing, but it's also going to be broadcast live on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Okay. So that's really cool. So it's there's lots of ways to watch it. If you can't make it to the El Moro Theater the day of the concert, you can certainly watch it live, and then it'll be rebroadcast on 91.5 I think FM on the Saturday following the concert. So that'll be pretty cool too.
All right, Michael. Thanks for telling us all about that. Nice talking to you, man.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back.
I would say all the historical sites here in New Mexico across the state make it a very unique and interesting place to come and see.
Hey, how you doing? It's Pear. And first thing that comes to mind when we're talking about New Mexico, it has to be the weather for me. We got the most beautiful dry climate you could imagine, but in a drop of a dime, it could go so extreme, and then 30 minutes later, we're back pristine. Gotta love it.
Greetings to and from the land of enchantment. My name is Ken Cornell, and I think that one of the unique things about New Mexico is our gorgeous, beautiful sunsets and sunrises.
One of our featured stories this month, Art Nueva, is where a Renaissance woman makes art to celebrate the living and the dead. This is a name you should commit to memory. And we're happy to have Letta here with us today to talk more about her art.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Beautiful artwork, gorgeous artwork, as we can see on the screen. So tell us, what was your inspiration?
So I've always had a fascination with anatomy, particularly bones. They provide the structure which gets us through life as a dancer and hiker and all kinds of stuff. So I began collecting bones and using them in the garden. And then when I left that space, I had collected quite a few bones, and I was trying to figure out what to do with them now that I didn't have a garden to have them anymore, and I began creating artwork out of it. And for me, it's kind of like it pays tribute to the cycle of life, Bones are the main thing that tend to still be there after, the rest of life has passed. And paying homage in a beautiful form, a lot of people see bones like a dark, creepy thing. And for me, I didn't really see that, and I wanted to give more of like a beautiful nature reincarnation sort of vibe, and that's kind of what I aim for. So tribute to the cycle.
Well, you're definitely given that Southwest feel. So my question would be, when it comes to the design, when you're figuring out, you see a skull, like how does your mind work to just be like, I'm gonna throw this on it?
It really kind of is an evolution. Each piece, I start with, first there's the skull. I usually then line the skull first, and then it starts, what do I find? A lot of times I go hiking and Jemez or this or that, and I'll bring back the sticks that become some of the crosses, the cross loads, across. And then things build off of there. I started mainly using like feathers and flowers, but now I use a lot of macrame. I use a lot of beadwork. Just really anything. I've always dabbled in a lot of crafts, so this allows me to kind of bring all of those into something and give a unique and constantly different feel to the different things I'm doing.
And some of them are pretty large. I mean, your goal is to create large. your goal is to create some large pieces for
Yes.
sale. Yes, I mean, they scaled from scales even to what you're wearing right now. So how large are we talking?
Well, so I recently ended up back on my mountain. Previously, the largest pieces I've done had been about 5 feet by 5 feet, and I'm working on some that are about 7 feet across that will probably be about 4 feet long. But when it comes to my mountain, I'm looking to do some much larger scale things. I would like to do some pieces that, who knows, maybe as big as 10 feet wide and tall and somehow married in the mountain. Some of them, have less limits, when you've got a focal point and then you've got, let's say, lots of ribs and et cetera hanging through the trees around them. It allows us kind of to branch out into the environment. And yeah, so we'll see where that comes along. But yeah, I'm definitely aiming bigger and better. And it's nice to be able to take my stuff beyond a wall and to an actual environment.
So I just have to take a step back and ask about the name of the artist. So Letta is quite a name.
Thank you.
And I do know you do burlesque in the community.
I do.
Where did this name come from?
So when I was in my early 20s, I was out partying with some friends and at an after party, and I fell rear end first through a glass coffee table. My friends then grabbed my hands and pulled me right out, and I ended up with over 50 stitches on my lovely little rear end. So years later, when I decided, it became a bit of a nickname, and then when I decided to go into burlesque, it was like, I just couldn't see anything else to do. The scar is right underneath my booty. So it was one of those things I chose to own it instead of being embarrassed about it or explaining all the time. And so yeah, Letta was born.
So where can people find your art that they can take a look at and see what they like?
I have a website, artnueva.com. I have both a personal Letta Facebook page and a business Facebook page. I tend to sell my stuff, some of it through Etsy, and then a lot of it in person. To be honest, between the shows I do and et cetera, a lot of my artwork does not even make it online. It usually sells before it gets to that point. But that doesn't mean that I'm not aiming to be able to do more of that, and also changing a lot of the things that I am doing. So I have a lot of items, smaller items, that should be coming out through Etsy soon as well.
Sounds great. Scar, thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll be right back.
She will be the first to tell you her story could be a hit NBC show. Don't put it past her. AMarie Castillo has taken her comedy act to New York and beyond, rebuilding herself after loss and the pandemic. AMarie is excited to share what her future holds in her comedy career. What is going on, AMarie? How you doing?
Yeah, I wish I was in studio with you, but I'm in the middle of nowhere in
I wish you were
Minnesota,
too, because
and,
right now it looks like you're standing beside a murder wall. Like, what happened?
I am.
What
I
is that
basically
spot
am.
on that
Right
wall
here.
right there?
Sorry, I missed. We were shooting different locations for the best shot here, and
Yeah. She
sorry.
started out in a locker room. I guess a boys' locker room. I don't know why you were in there. But they had shower stuff in there. This is a really friendly locker room. They had mirrors, hand mirrors and everything. I don't understand what they need that for. But
I'm at a golf course at my best friend's rehearsal dinner in Minnesota, but I didn't want to miss out on this
that makes sense now.
opportunity
That makes sense
for
now.
this interview.
I ain't never been to a golf course that provided shampoo and stuff. Hey, Marie, so you are back from New York. You are a hometown girl. What brought you back to New Mexico?
Unfortunately, my mother passed away unexpectedly, and my family needed help. And so I've been in New York the last 13 years building my brand with comedy and sports. And so I left I left New Mexico when I was 18, and now I'm about to be 35, and I was like, I'm never moving back to New Mexico. But now here I am. Well, I'm in Minnesota, but just here for the weekend.
I said the same thing, and I'm back.
But I came back, and it's like weird because I've never been happier, and I just I'm on the scene with you too, and I think Albuquerque has a lot of potential. I just think we need to change the narrative. I think it's weird. Albuquerque, like Burkina is like. Albuquerque people are so prideful, but we're also the most like self-loathing people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to change the narrative of Albuquerque. It's a great city. It's the best mid-sized city in the world.
Definitely that. So what do you think that comedians need to do specifically out here in New Mexico to change that narrative for the comedy scene out here?
To change the narrative and I think it's hard because I've worked in LA and New York, and I've established myself as a New York comedian. So I think sometimes people, like, when I say I'm from New York, they, like, build a wall. And I feel like I'm just trying to give advice because I actually got to establish myself in the best comedy scene in the world. And I think when you come to mid-sized cities or small towns like Albuquerque, I think comedians are not, they need to just keep it real. And I feel like they're all too worried about each other when they should be worried about themselves. And I think we need to, like, Albuquerque's weird. It's like we need more shows, and we need more comedy shows, and we need more talent here. And I'm not saying there's not talented people. It's just we limit ourselves here. So we need to.
Just everything, exposure, just all that stuff pretty much. They
right,
just
but
need
everyone's too worried, or it's like high school. Like everyone needs to like focus. My mantra in comedy is always like compete with yourself. Like stop worrying what other shows are going on. Start worrying about like if you don't. Why is this person funny and they're getting featured? Like stop worrying about that. Like work on yourself.
Okay. So just to let our viewers know, when did you start comedy? Because when you left,
I started June. Okay, so this is weird. I took a non-traditional route in comedy. I started in 2008 as a producer, and which I mean by producing is I would produce shows all over New York and this at different venues. I even produced with Paul Mooney and Colin Kane at Caroline's, and then like eventually, everyone's like get on stage, and I became a comedian in 2010. I'm sorry, June 12th, 2010. That's my comedy anniversary.
Nice. All right, so we got to get to it then. So what is, I'll ask you this before we go at least, what is your worst bombing story? And we all got one, so what's yours? Oh,
my God. Let me think of my worst. I mean, if you're not bombing, you're not a real comedian.
You're not learning nothing. I say the same.
You're not learning. Every great comedian has bombed. Let me think about this, though. Oof.
Just one that sticks out.
Oh, you know what's funny? In New York, it's very common for like Jerry Seinfeld or like big comedians to come on. I had to follow Judah Freelander at Gotham, and I bombed. I'm not blaming him. It was the worst set I've ever had in my entire life. Like, it was sad. And I knew how bad it was after the first 30 seconds, and it was just the longest 10 minutes of my life. And it's a long time.
How was that ride home? How was the ride home, though, after that?
Woo! That was some crying.
This is always the worst. I rode home with no music on the last time.
But then it's like a drug. You're like addicted. You're like, so you want to get back on stage. You're like, oh, give me another chance. But that's another thing. In Albuquerque, I'm not used to this. Like, I might get up once a week. Like in New York, I can get up on stage like 5 times a night. So you can go make up for a bad set.
Right. All right, darling. Tell everybody your socials. Give them your handle where we can find you at.
It's at part-time bro. So it's at part_time_bro.
I think we just put it up on the screen. So.
Yeah, you did.
Just made you waste the time. All right, AMarie, thanks. You get back to that bathroom or wherever, you got to get back to.
I'm going back to a wedding.
All right, dog. We'll see you when you get back out here, all right?
Can't wait.
Take it easy.
Support local comedy.
We'll be back.
The pandemic has opened the door to introducing more New Mexico artists to the public. Albuquerque ArtWalk has provided an outlet for citizens to view what the art community has to offer, while giving people a creative outlet for the night out. The event has brought out all forms of art, from canvas to jewelry. Different vendors who have taken part include Two Stone Betties and Secret Gallery. Adding other businesses in the area like 505 Central Food Hall, Red Door Brewing, and Polenta Bar, you can plan for a fun-filled evening all in one part of town.
Not only a fun name to say, but the Prickly Pear Festival is a tasty event that will give attendees a better understanding of a native plant that is easy to grow and fun to eat. The event features vendors, classes, and demos from amazing restaurants like Three Sisters Kitchen, Slow Roasted Bocadillos, and Red Mesa Cuisine. We have Will and Liz with us here today to talk more about the event and what attendees can expect. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, thanks for having us.
So, Will, I want to first ask, how did this event come about?
Sure. So this is our third year. I used to have a small farm in the North Valley, and got into environmental issues through that, and was thinking about ways to promote native arid adapted plants, and through conversations with partners and friends at Three Sisters Kitchen, started thinking about a way to promote a native plant that is very recognizable to New Mexicans, very recognizable in the region, but isn't as utilized. Even though its pads are edible, its fruit is edible. It's eaten in lots of parts of the world, including in Mexico, but not as much here in New Mexico.
So, Liz, you actually got to take part in this event because this is the 4th annual, am I correct? Or
Third year.
It's a third year. So you have participated as a performer, but now you are going to be a vendor. So what has the experience been like as a performer for this event?
It's been really great. I've known Will for a very, very long time, but it's been really great to see how like our community came together as a lot just small musicians from the area, and it started as a very intimate community event, and it's really cool to have seen it like grown to this proportion, and now things are starting to fall into pace, and now we're just starting to look bigger.
So, Will, when it comes to who you chose for the event, the vendors, the chefs, everybody taking part, how do you go about the process?
Sure. So one of the reasons that I wanted to do this, and that kind of part of the mission of the festival, was to create more of a market for prickly pear. So starting off, it was just looking for food businesses or any businesses that incorporated prickly pears into their products. And there weren't that many. And it's kind of cool to see how more have popped up, or maybe they've become more recognizable, but it's really cool to see how that happened. So that was one of the first things we did. Another important part of the mission of the festival is to recognize the the history of this plant that's native to our region. And so the other thing is that this isn't just like a food novelty, but native peoples in this region have been using prickly pear for a very long time. So that's another reason why we've had native and indigenous chefs. But those are some, and then we want to find people who will make something exciting and are well known. So hooking up with Chef Maria Bocadillos was cool as a bit of a local celebrity. So that's kind of how we went about choosing some of the vendors and some of the cooking demonstrations.
So Liz, you'll be there as a vendor. Tell us about what you'll be presenting as a vendor at this event.
Well, I'm actually really excited. I just started a new business, a small custom cake oriented and small baked goods called Howdy Cakes. And this is what I want to do is incorporate indigenous flavors with, kind of gourmet small bite cakes. And Prickly Pear Festival is giving, me a platform to put this product out there, as well as collaborate with Will in, creating a new product, which, we hope to put out for the festivals. Yeah, we plan to put out granola bars and, some lemonade and see where it goes from there.
Sounds good. So, Will, where can people find you? I know we have it up on the screen, but let us know where we can find you.
Definitely. You can go to nmpricklypearfest.com or follow us on Facebook or Instagram at nmpricklypearfestival. And we hope people will come out. We've got a lot of great cooking demos, beverage demos, awesome music, and also a prickly pear recipe competition. So please come out Saturday, September 4th from 10 to 6 in downtown Albuquerque on Gold between 2nd and 3rd.
Thank you, Liz and Will, for joining us today and telling us more about the Prickly Pear Festival, and we will be right back.
Here is your New Mexico entertainment in 60. The 8750 Barbecue and Music Festival is the newest, best little festival in the West. Come out for a weekend of music, barbecue, and chili set in the beautiful mountains of northern New Mexico. 8750 Barbecue and Music Festival is on August 19th through the 21st in Red River. The Lowrider Albuquerque Super Show rolls into the convention center with some of the world's finest cars, trucks, hoppers, music performances, and more. The Lowrider Albuquerque Super Show is August 22nd. The Enchanted Music and Art Festival will celebrate the land of enchantment and all its artists have to offer with an outdoor festival filled with live music, local artists, vendors, food trucks, and more. The festival is on August 20th through the 22nd at Cottonwood Mall. This has been New Mexico Entertainment in 60. For more events and entertainment, visit edmentertains.com.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our first episode of New Mexico Entertainment Television. Please feel free to share with us what you would like to see on our upcoming shows.
That's right. The show is a community show, and it only works if you guys participate and let us know what you want to see. So please join us next month for our music issue.
Yes, we'll be covering some of New Mexico's favorite artists and musicians, so definitely check it out.
Catch y'all next month.
For more events and entertainment, visit edmentertains.com.